but he
He's
just
a big Dexter
said this
Fowler
to me.
guy.
Yeah, he's a big Dexter Fowler guy, but man, he was right. And I told him the day, and he was like freaking out. And I don't even care if Schwarber gets in there and goes 0 for 5,
Yeah,
or 0 for 3, or strikes out 4 times. The fact that he gets to be a part of this is something that I care about more than anything statistically that he does.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I'm more happy for Kyle than anyone because, that guy's been there all season. He's been very much a part of this team's success. I think it's been good to have him there. He seems like a good guy to rally around too. And he's put in the work. So I'm happy. I'm really happy he gets a chance to play on this stage because, this season was amazing, but there's still a little something missing, and that's Kyle Schwarber. So I'm very happy to get him back. And I think he produces. I think he's going to produce.
Yeah, at this point, who knows? And
yeah, I think it's like one of those who's the old Knicks forward? Who am I thinking of? Who came out and
Bernard King.
Bernard King. Was that it? Yeah, I think that's it. I feel like Bernard King moment's coming for Kyle Schwarber.
That would be incredible.
But in Arizona, I've heard reports, scouts are saying he still looks freakishly good.
His bat speed is still there. I saw a video today. He hit a ball, exit velocity 110, which is better than you're going to get with Coughlin or LaStella. So, if he's cleared to play and Kyle feels confident in himself and Theo thinks this is a good idea, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Thanks. You gotta trust the Cubs front office here, and putting that guy in your lineup, like what an extra weapon to get going into the series if he can produce. But I think he's with his skill set, he doesn't rely as much on his legs. He has so much upper body strength, and I mean, yes, he generates a lot of power from his huge hips and all that, but I still feel like even a 60% Kyle Schwarber can, hit a big home run in a big situation just by, putting the bat on the ball.
Yeah, I mean, he's not coming into the game to run. He's coming into the game to hit home runs and hit balls in the gap, and I think he can do that. And the only thing I'm concerned about a little bit is his timing. Especially going against Corey Kluber, his first game. Congratulations, you're back. Here's Kluber.
Yeah, here's Corey.
So we'll see how he does. I'm sensing a hit. I don't want to go out there and say like a home run because that's super ambitious. Yeah. But I will say he gets a hit. And I also say Game 3, when they're back at Wrigley, he will get a late inning pinch hit opportunity. And that place will absolutely lose it.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be incredible. So I'm just so happy that he actually gets to be a part of this now. Sure, he was a part of it throughout the whole season, good cheerleader, stuff like that. But someone like Kyle Schwarber, who's a competitor and the athlete that he is and just like the freak that he is, he wants to be out there. He wants to actually say at the end of the day, I helped this Cubs team win. So hopefully they get it done because it would be incredible.
It will help down the line too because people kind of, I don't know if people forgot, but he's still very much a part of this Cubs core. And I think some people kind of forgot about him a little bit. To get him just at bats in this moment, where the stage is just so big, especially in this series where it's a Cleveland team who hasn't won in so long, and it's a Cubs team who hasn't won in so long, and the pressure is just insane. Like down the line, that's going to be a very useful experience. And I've heard Theo talk about that. He talked about Addison last year. He missed the Mets series, and Theo was, he's like, even 4 games is very valuable playoff experience. So just getting him in there at all is a big deal. And I think I'm calling a 3-run shot. 3-run shot tomorrow. Off Kluber.
My God. I would just about lose it. It's just so great, this whole thing. And this is just so storybook, like Kyle coming back and getting this opportunity. I just feel so good for him. I mean, rosters are not official. We could all wake up tomorrow morning and, Blake and I could look like idiots. But probably a lot of people would look like idiots because he is in Cleveland right now. That is a fact. His jet has landed.
His private jet.
Yeah, John Greenberg has been, stalking his jet. And, he's here. It's time. And to just say Kyle Schwarber DH in the World Series Game 1. Yeah. It feels so good.
It feels good. That. Yeah. Jason McLeod and Hoyer both spoke out on it, and it sounded like it was happening.
Let's do it.
So let's do it.
Do you have a prediction, Blake? We will be together for a post-game type of recap at some point this weekend, but before we do that, do you have a prediction for the series?
Well, in this case, I really like the Cubs starting pitching over the Cleveland rotation. I think the Cubs are the better lineup, probably the better defense. Bullpens match up pretty well. That all said, I still think the series goes at least 6 games, but it's a Cubs victory. They're too good not to win this. So they're here.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm going Cubs in 5.
The Wrigley?
Yeah, only because I'm going to be there. That's the only feeling that I have is that I'm going to be there when the Cubs win the World Series in Chicago on Sunday night. You can book it right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. It just is what it is. I just got that feeling.
It's the best home team in baseball. And if they get 1 win in Cleveland in these first 2 games, they could absolutely rattle off 3 at home. So, I really want your prediction to happen, but I think this Cleveland team is a little too good and it goes 6. But we'll see. We'll see.
All right. We will see what happens.
Yes, we will.
Next on the docket, I got to sit down with Vijay Vemu at Bloggable and talk about the Bulls' upcoming season. And let me tell you, he's a really great guy, and he's extremely knowledgeable, and he has a very bright future. Go ahead and follow him at Vijay Vemu on Twitter. And I'm glad we finally got to have him on because he's been a fan of the show, and I've been a fan of his work. And finally, we got to sit down and talk some Bulls. So here he is, him and myself, talking about the Bulls' upcoming season. All right, joining us now on Sosa's Steam Room, I'm very excited to introduce Vijay Vemu from Bloggable. He's a very knowledgeable writer and a student currently at UIC. I'm just really happy to finally have him on the show. It's been a long time coming, so welcome, man.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on this great podcast. Ready to talk some Bulls.
Yeah, me too. Well, the season is quickly approaching. I've basically had enough with preseason basketball. It's time for games that matter. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, these games have dragged by. I went to the one against Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland didn't even put out a real team in that game. So I was ready for some real basketball to start. Hopefully,
yeah,
an exciting Bulls season.
Yeah, definitely an entertaining Bulls season. If I had to put a word to it. So, what are your overall projections for this team?
There's obviously my range of wins for the Bulls this year is around 33 to 38 wins for this team. They're not as good as they are on paper. I mean, on paper, they look fantastic. You see like the 3 alphas, Rondo, Wade, Butler, and all the supporting cast, but they just haven't looked that good so far. They're sort of stuck in the middle where they were last year, where they're on bad enough to tank, but they aren't good enough to compete with the rest of the Eastern Conference. So, I mean, it's again, the front office just wants this team to stay relevant again. That's, again, putting them in a tough spot because considering if you want them to rebuild short-term or long-term, they're doing neither of that right now. I don't think there's any point in tanking at this point, so you might as well just try to go forward. So I think it's playoffs or bust, because if they don't make the playoffs, it's going to look really bad considering how much money and like how much the things that they did to get guys like Dwayne Wade or Rondo and even Lopez. And I don't know, I think Hoiberg's job might be on the line if they don't make the playoffs. So I mean, I think they'll sneak into the playoffs, but then again, they're going to play one of the big guns, probably a Boston or a Cleveland, and I don't think they're going to get past that. So I think it's first round of the playoffs or barely out of the playoffs.
Yeah, it's frustrating right now because you're basically in basketball purgatory. You're in the middle. It's the worst place to be. And for this Bulls team last year, they definitely lacked identity and they lacked direction. And the front office kind of threw us a little bit of a curveball this offseason. Of course, we've heard rumors about Jimmy Butler on the trade market in the offseason, and they go out and get Rondo and Dwayne Wade, and now it looks like retooling. But this retooling doesn't really make much sense considering the fit with Hoiberg's offense. This would have been great in 2011. But right now it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think you hit it right in the head, that 33 to 38 win total, probably barely sneaking into the postseason. So obviously this team has a couple weaknesses, but what is the biggest weakness of this team?
Biggest weakness, I think, is honestly the defense. The spacing on the offense, that's a weakness other people highlight, but at the same time, they've showed times where they can get over that. I mean, obviously, Dwayne Wade can have a great shooting day, or like they can just get to the rim and success, take advantage of a team with no defense. But at the other end, they can't stop anyone. That's I know they have holes on everywhere on the court. The new system that Hoiberg's been putting in with them leaves them like really vulnerable to three-point shooting. So basically, when a guy comes in the lane, everyone collapses basically, and guys try to get into passing lanes. So I mean, obviously, you're leaving your man to try to get the ball during a pass, and you have to come back to your man. But you have guys like Rondo and Wade who you don't know exactly is going to put in that much effort. So you're going to leave a lot of three-point shooting open. In terms of that, I mean, perimeter defense, other than Butler, I don't know if any of those guys can actually stay in front of their man, like you saw with Valentine in Summer League. Can't stay in front. He's a great player, but he just can't stay in front of his man to save his life. I think Lopez, Gibson, and Felicio will be the biggest key inside because they're going to be trying to contest a lot of shots this season with guys trying to go into the lane. Lopez is going to be an upgrade over Powell in terms of rebounding. But in terms of like pick and roll defense, they're playing him the same way. They're sort of like icing him. They don't trust him a lot. With Felicio, they're blitzing the picks. So, I mean, they trust him a lot to basically try to cover the guards. But with Lopez, you're playing him the same way as Gasol. So I don't think you're going to see a big change in terms of pick and roll defense. But in terms of rim protection and boxing out, in terms of rebounds, you're going to get a lot better with Lopez. And also the defense is such a big issue that I think it brings up another issue, which is Taj Gibson. I mean, you have to start Taj Gibson at this point. He's been the best power forward. He helps you defensively and with rebounding. But with Taj comes a lack of space, and everything's going to start getting clogged in the middle because we know Taj loves to play in the paint, and that obviously none of the three alphas love to. They don't like to shoot three. So I think, I mean, the defense puts the Bulls in a tough spot because it forces them to play out of their offense as well. So I think that as much as Hoiberg wants to start Niko Mirotic, the defense would be too vulnerable at this point. So you just got to start Taj. So I think defense is probably the biggest weakness to look out for.
Yeah, everyone's been making a big deal out of the spacing problem, and we know that's going to be an issue, especially with the lack of three-point shooting, like you mentioned. I agree with you. Taj should be starting opening night. He certainly has deserved it. He's been the best player on the floor for the Bulls. He's just been playing off the charts. It's been 100%. A really good surprise. Hopefully he can stay healthy the whole season. And he's playing for a contract. This is a contract year for Taj. So you're going to see him come out and play well. Something that concerns me is the transition defense with this team.
One too, yeah. Guys are just not getting back.
Yeah, I mean, Dwayne Wade, his entire career, he kind of has a stigma to him that he'll kind of be complaining with refs instead of getting back on defense from time to time. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. And you mentioned how the Bulls are clogging the lane on defense and kind of collapsing, leaving three-point shooters wide open. It's not like the league is going in that direction or anything with three-point shooting, so that basically speaks for itself. So